and it's 120 light years away from
That's about it. But this week is Project Surfer, all about Project Surfer. And if you don't know what Project Surfer is, well, you should.
So well, you'd be like, oh, look, methane. Methane was a 5 sigma detection. That has the data was so good that it was like the gold standard of science.
What about detecting
That's pretty much
and we actually
the
almost
host of Project Surfer. We'll get to
thought we might have
we're
found
not starting in Project Surfer. We're rewinding
back
back. Even rumors of alien bodies being whisked away
and that
under
usually
cover
doesn't
of
happen
darkness.
in
And in the shadows, a clandestine operation is immediately set into motion following this crash. Recovered debris is transported to a secret facility where scientists and engineers work tirelessly to unravel its secrets, and if you believe this is true, are still trying to figure that shit out to this day. The truth they discover is far more extraordinary than anyone could have imagined. This wasn't a weather balloon, but a spacecraft, a vessel from another world, and it carries within it the potential to reshape our understanding of the universe in reality.
So this is from 2005?
The origin of the story is from 2005 from 40 emails anonymously sent to the individual who put this all together.
And they're still hitting us with the weather balloon cover story?
I genuinely don't know. Yeah, I guess in 2005 they're talking about it for sure. I don't know if that's the case still today. I imagine it is.
I just got like a great idea for episode 2 or 9 that's just all about weather balloons.
Just literally like an educational episode about weather balloons and how exactly they work.
It should be about what weather balloons actually are and all the things that people have said about weather balloons and whether or not they can be weather balloons.
So, you know what? Put that episode together and let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so common. I mean, you would have to start with every conceivable type of weather balloon. When they were used, how often they were used, how many existed, then where they were used, and if any were used in the vicinity of, like, books have been written on the subject that, like, good luck, buddy. Yeah, it would be like a 6 or 7 part.
It's like a 2-parter of a 2-parter of an 8-part cryptography.
Right.
Like,
This would be very straightforward. No jokes about this one.
No, okay.
This would just be about weather balloons.
Okay, no, for you. After this 1947 crash, there was another, 1949, which we also talked about, the crash at Corona. It happened in 1949 when another mysterious object plummets to Earth, this time near Corona, California. The military response is even more secretive this time, with the wreckage quickly whisked away to a hidden location.
It's not that far from here.
Now, how far away is Corona from where you guys are in LA? Yeah.
It's like a little bit past Disneyland. Yeah, like 2 hours.
Not that far. It's actually not even.
Like an hour.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You guys maybe.
Man, not accounting for traffic. We could totally. Yeah, that's true. We could totally go there.
That's cool. We should. I mean, we'd probably be escorted off the military base very quickly, but it'd be cool to go.
Yeah. We could go to Miguel's and get a trash burrito.
I don't know. I never heard of it. Trash burrito sounds good. Besides, the government obviously trying to keep it secret. Back in
I was just you paused.
This story, Project Surfer, as well, is also supposedly the true inspiration involved in it.
So just 1980s suburbia.
1980s,
So just 1980s suburbia.
1980s,
I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind. Yeah.
So yeah, the rudimentary. I'm here. I'm your Sherpa of Surfer.
All right. Part of me,
part of me in the cosmos. And I even have like, we're not going to go through it all, but there's like little journal entries that we supposedly got pictures of. I have a list of all the things they brought on their journey for supplies as well that we'll talk about. It's fun. That's 1949. This idea quickly takes place as they talk to Evie over about a year or two. And now we're going to move to 1954, 5 years after the second crash. And in 1954, the Cold War casts a really kind of new ominous shadow over the world of another potential hot war. But behind closed doors, in the highest echelons of.
I do have a lot of questions. According to Wikipedia, Zeta Reticuli.
Anyway, but this is another explanation as well.
I was just saying that what if, like, like how we were talking about how aliens, like, sometimes like a being that what they are and that's what we see.
Yeah. What's that? That's from Asari. Those are the Asari Mass Effect.
Yeah, like what if this story is like it's all one being, but it's like everybody saw, they saw, you know what I mean?
Yeah. How do you know you're red to my red?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Eisenhower saw a Serbian dude, and maybe the guy watching him meet saw
the Serbians or like your Serpos?
Serpolege.
Ooh, I like it. Serpolege. Hopefully they don't get too mad about us calling them that. In a clandestine meeting here at Edwards Air Force Base, Eisenhower and a select group of advisors met with what they were now calling the Ebens. E-B-E-N-S. It's just kind of what they could have named.
That's even worse.
Incredible. So they're there. Oh, yeah, so they're now the Ebens. They're there with a delegation of Ebens. So Jesse, that answers your question. He reached out to his planet. They sent a ship with Ebens to arrive at the Air Force Base and meet with the president. And now you might be asking, well, what do they look like? Well, they look like what you expect them to look like. They have large heads, they're kind of short, large almond-shaped eyes, slender bodies. They exude an aura of just like intelligence. So your typical Greys. They look like your typical Greys.
So this then goes against the common notion that Greys are subservient to tall whites.
Correct. This is a totally different take on what the Greys are. And the only place in any UFO like lore or history where this is like super nice and like come hang out on planet Serpo. The negotiations are supposedly intense. The stakes for humanity are just very, very high. But after hours of intense discussions, a tentative agreement is finally reached. The Ebens will provide the means for a small group of humans to travel to Serpo. In return, the humans will share their knowledge of Earth's culture, technology, and history. It's a culture, kind of like a cultural exchange that, of just like, again, that exchange student situation. A diplomatic mission that could pave the way for a new era of cooperation between two vastly different civilizations. But the risks are undeniable. Or they're being kept secret from us by the government for our own. Specialized skills were handpicked for this extraordinary mission. And training began in a secluded facility, hidden away from prying eyes. It was a crash course in the bizarre and the unfamiliar. The astronauts in training, dubbed the Serpo 12, dealt an enigmatic writing system. Physical conditioning was equally intense as the astronauts prepared for a gravity environment different from Earth's and an atmosphere with a unique composition. They spent hours in centrifuges, acclimating their bodies to the G-forces they would experience during space travel. They practiced wearing bulky got a problem? The science checks out, Jesse.
You've got a problem?
That's how science works.
I mean,
so yeah, they got a bound by camaraderie doing.
You know what? The phrase you said before, similar yet alien, or whatever you said, is exactly what I described it. Everything you're saying is like
your brain's like, okay, I get it. But...
Yeah, but it's totally different from every. What's insane to me is all the other alien things we've talked about. When I hear this story, I'm like, well, this can't be real because of all the other alien things we've talked about, which is making my mind hurt.
I have broken you, Jesse. It's happened 6 years, and your brain's like, well, that can't be real because all these other alien things are the real alien.
Because all these other alien stories. Yeah.
You didn't even know it happened, man.
You got me. This is a long con. You got me.
Episode 250. Oh, it was special, baby. It was a special night. Like, I'll write this in my diary later. Here's how Jesse accidentally admitted his brain thinks aliens are real. Only the kind that sounds resilience and their faith in human potential. Two things. Before we move on, I do have a list of supplies that Earth sent them with to take on their journey to the new planet. Secondly, something that for some reason I guess they never thought to ask, because it kind of becomes apparent to them later. They don't know how long they're going for. They just said for a time,
sure, let's go,
and they would be swapped back. How long do you think they were there for?
I mean, a 10-month trip?
Other than the 10 months, how long were they on planet Serpo?
I'm going to say, based on the 12-year investment, plus 10-month trip, at least minimum 5, 6, 8 years. I think days.
We got two extremes. 5 to 8 years, days, and they were like 12 years, and all right, it was a nice weekend visit, go home.
No way.
Let's go. And we'll see what the answer is. Spatially bigger than the outside of the ship.
I understand what you're saying.
Yes, yes. You really are. You really are. Just don't. I guess if they get there and they get 5 pre-packed containers, 1,000. So there's a basic rundown of the planet itself. So now you know it's definitely
real now. Yeah,
definitely real. So yeah, they got a literal fleet of vehicles, military, just fucking armed to the teeth for 12 people. It's crazy. Yeah, that blew the shit.
We're supposed to guide them.
Even that flew them from Earth to Serpo essentially just stayed quiet the whole journey.
Oh, question then. Did EB1 stay on Earth?
No, he went home.
But he didn't say nothing to the people that he convinced to go.
Apparently not. So I imagine maybe
if I was one of the Crystal Knights, I would have been freaked out. This guy was like, yeah, come on, we're taking back to our planet. And then maybe you get that would be like if I said, hey guys, let's go get lunch. And then we got in my car and I was silent the entire time and just drove you in the direction you didn't know.
The other thing too is publicly the government dissolved their public identities of the team members so that they were just going by 3-digit numbers for a very long time, and that was known as being sheep dipped. So all the 12 members were sheep dipped.
That's a good phrase.
Which is very bizarre. Again, there's a lot of weird things in prep that I kind of just the book is long. If you want to read Secret Journey to Planet Serpo, it's about 300 pages. And there's a lot in there. It starts with Nazi America, Nazi bases and Project Paperclip taking them on and all that shit. But it's insane. They also talk about in the memo that they learned of an interesting incident that occurred after the aliens had been taken away. The military retrieval team decided to enter the craft. Remember when I told you that they walked in and felt sick when they walked in?
Yeah.
One person described very specifically that when they stepped into the spacecraft, it felt like they were on a rocket ship to hell.
What the hell does that even mean? It got hot?
It just it was. It didn't feel good. I don't know what it means. That's just what he said. I just thought it was an interesting quote that I forgot to tell you. I wanted to tell you. That's all I got on that. There's no details. It does not extrapolate. He doesn't go further on any of that shit. The on Serpo, I couldn't find it. 2 days, the astronauts began to explore their new home. They ventured out into the surrounding desert, marveling at the strange planet life that thrived in the harsh conditions, and they observed the Edens going about their daily routines, their movements graceful and efficient, which is the exact opposite of how they described in every other encounter with the Grey, where they're robotic and awkward. I just think of Betty and Barney Hill when the alien didn't know what to do, the Grey didn't know what to do with the zipper on her dress, and was just awkwardly
just fixed. Yeah.
The astronauts even got to sample the local cuisine, a strange concoction of unfamiliar flavors and textures. Was all we really got about it. It was a time of, for them, they were in the honeymoon period. It's wonder and discovery, overwhelming, a chance to witness a civilization that had evolved along a completely different path than humanity's. The astronauts were filled with a sense of awe and humility, realizing that they were mere guests in this alien world, eager to learn and understand its secrets. The initial wonder of arrival soon gave way to the realities of living on an alien world, however. The astronauts, despite their rigorous training, found themselves facing a multitude of challenges. First, the thin atmosphere made breathing difficult, and the constant exposure to the binary sun's radiation required them to wear protective suits whenever they ventured outside. That fucking sucks. The 43-hour Serpo day disrupted their circadian rhythms really badly, leading to sleep disturbances and disorientation, and the food, while nutritious, was bland and unappetizing, causing digestion.
Surely 10 months in space would have changed any circadian rhythm they had.
I mean, that's the fair.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. There's so much that I'm holding back right now. I don't let it. There's other me's holding me back, but please continue.
You would think it did, but I wonder maybe the ship was tailored to be to the comfort of humanity, so that when those when they took them on, they didn't want immediately.
That explains why the aliens were talking. They were pissed off. We got 10 months of this bullshit.
10 months of this goddamn nonsense.
I get it. Never mind.
Yeah, so the 43-hour day threw them off. The food was bland and gross, and despite that's a bonus in a video game.
Just put sunglasses on the seats, bro. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, blue light filter.
Calm down. Maybe radiation won't affect it. But then, aren't you eating radiated food? Look,
Well, they're technologically advanced, okay? And they did set up a temporary lab, so maybe they were growing the food in the lab, and it was away from the sun.
like Matt Damon in The Martian.
Yeah, like injuries very easily, but maybe humanity...
Was it 13 years?
It was been years for EB1. They was with us in 19... No, he was with us for longer than that. Hang on. He was crashed in 1949. Project Serpo was 5 years after that. Serpo was 5 years after that. And then they did 12 years, or 11 years... And then they did 12 years, or 11 years of training So he wonders beyond imagination, encountered a
That's why, like, the big heads in this are like, well,
Yeah.
like,
technological advancement were finally being sown, and the possibilities seemed endless. The return of the Serpo 12, well, 10, to Earth marked the end of an extraordinary chapter in human history. They were, and also everybody who, spit on it and said it's dumb. Some saw it as confirmation of the long-held beliefs, others dismissed it as a hoax or disinformation campaign. Regardless, Project Serpo is one of the more obscure but still relatively powerful topics in UFO lore. There's still a good chunk of people who believe this is real. But you might ask, did anything dramatic happen? Nope. It came home, quietly died of old age. The government has all the secrets that they said, and that's all we know. And that, there's so many just like, he's like, here's a reference, here's what this means. Like a lot of, what do you call it, index and footnote.
A mail list, it follows your mail list. Claimed to be a retired government guy with top secret, like everything you said.
Yep.
Investigation believes that Anonymous is Richard.
Got propulsion systems, Alcubierre warp drives, wormholes, space-time bubbles. It's like more about the potential scientific ways of how, like, or how they do this and stuff.
And admittedly, this is the exact opposite. Like, this is, again,
The opposite.
so different from what the other information you have for the last 249 episodes we're talking about, that I'm like, I already don't believe any of this.
It doesn't fit.
So I don't
Even the stuff
know.
that leaked on the
Do you think
government.
the truth is going to be more similar to the lore, or do you think it's going to be like when we finally?
I think if I was a betting man, my guess is that what we're dealing with, if we were to say it is something else, otherworldly or whatever, it's probably closer to the indifferent attitudes that they seem to have for us. This idea that we're not nice to us or anything like that. They more treat us like wild animals or captured speed or whatever. It's more neutral. I think that's closer to the truth than Project Serpo. It's like, we're fucking hand in hand, let's go to Theta Reticuli and live on their planet for 13 years.
Fair enough. Sure.
Fucking crazy. But it's a hilarious story and I love it. That wraps up this week, boys. We're going to have to go to a mini-sode. Next week, we're talking something that's a lot more potentially real. The Travis Walton abduction is one of my favorite
That's so exciting.
scenarios. There's like 5 people involved. It's not just one guy. It's a fascinating story.
And the movie's worth a watch. Should they watch it before or after?
Yeah, I mean, either or. You don't need to watch it at all. In fact, if you'd rather get the actual story first, listen to the podcast, then watch the movie, because the movie obviously fictionalizes some things for the sake of it. So yeah, up to you, but you can do either or. But that's it. Thank you guys again. We will see you next week. We appreciate it.
Bye.
Anyway, me and my wife were sitting outside in Belgium in our corner, and I enjoyed ourselves. I needed to go to the bathroom, so I slipped back inside, and after a little moment, I hear my wife go, "Holy shit, get out of here." So I quickly dashed back outside. She's looking at the sky and fog. I look up too, and there's a perfect line of dusty lights traveling across the sky.
We also find ourselves being completely cosmology, we have to figure out how to look at the inside. And cosmology will always be at the center of this, lasting wave ride of light. Quantity really becomes a measuring problem just because of the buttons that are so on the one hand, we're using it, on the other hand, we're saying, so which one is it, right? And so they all come from not understanding you can't do science without already being present. You can't reduce what happens in science to some sort of formal it's really about we love our formal system, our mathematics, and we're substituting. That's one of the things that we there's 2 philosophers we really like who are our heroes. One is Herschel, who's a mathematician who invented phenomenology, and the other is Whitehead, who's one of the greatest mathematicians. Came up with this idea of the surreptitious substitution. Part of the blind spot is substituting a formal system of calculus, of data, for actual experience. That's more important. So let me just do, before I go to those 3, let's just do the parable of temperature, because I think it'll help them understand what we mean. So think about...
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Illuminati Podcast, episode 236. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Mike Martin, joined today by none other than Jesse Thompson.
Look at a cloud in space.
To go look something up for a duo. I haven't come on with a new theme for the next bit. I'm working on it, though. There's gonna be
You want to bring this bit back?
Theme. It's gonna be.
I like that. I like a New Year's resolution. That's nice and strong. Room 237, is that The Shining?
Room 237. I mean, I watched that terrible movie, and he was mad at me afterward that I made him watch it. I thought it was good.
It was neat. It was neat. Anyway, that's what this is. I should have done an episode about the Overlook Hotel or whatever it's called for The Shining for episode 237. But I just realized that right now. So forget about that. Here we are again, folks. Another day. Another one of my. I'm gonna take a liberty here and say beloved and extremely long-winded opening bits. To those of you who get it, hello again. Welcome to another one of these. To those of you who don't get it, here, have a hit of this right here. Oh yeah, Pop Shell,
who has had a career for over a decade.
He should not be an ism. He doesn't even think Star Wars is political. He does not believe
Denver Airport episode ever made.
Underground.
Go on.
No, that's what I'm saying. No head smash.
Trust me, there's gonna be plenty of it. Here's what's up. And I have a few requests. First, on top of just teasing that episode H8 exists and is coming down the pipes for real, they want me to tantalize you with the fact that it's going to be a new topic type for Chilluminati episodes. And that we shouldn't worry about any kind of stupid stunt episode because the idea has legs. So they're very excited about it. But forget about episode H8 for now because today they want me to talk about dreams. Apparently the Chilluminati did a screening of Dream Scenario with Nicolas Cage at their New Year's party last month. I guess they bought it on Amazon Prime and streamed it at the party. I don't really know. I'm not allowed to those parties. But according to the minutes of the meeting, which I was given access to, everyone thought it was, quote, a really neat watch. But it also apparently reminded them that if we're going to be doing this new push to indoctrinate so many new members of the Chilluminati and try and stop the world from descending into, like, a true post-capitalist, chaotic on-chillness event, which is called a PCUV, a PQ. It's important to start with at least a basic course in dream defense, which is going to start with the modules on shared subconscious, the dream realm, and oneiromancy, which we're going to cover throughout the dream episode. And don't worry, if you have no idea what any of that is, you have... Anyway, fair warning, this episode, this man sounded almost exactly like the movie, to the point that at first I wondered if the movie was based on a true story. So first things first, there's a website for this phenomenon called thisman.org, but do not go there yet. It's called thisman.org, but do not go there yet, since it'll spoil my well laid out tale.
And for given her advice on her private life. The woman swears she has never met the man in her life. The portrait lies forgotten on the psychiatrist's desk for a few weeks until one day another patient recognizes that face and says that the man has often visited him in his dreams. He also claims he has never seen the man in his waking life. Psychiatrist
have been developed to explain the mysteriously recurring presence of this man in the dreams of different people who are related in any way. The following theories are the ones that elicit the greatest interest among dreamers, a mental conditioning plan developed by major corporations. Then there's dream imitation theory. This is a scientific sociological theory which claims that this phenomenon has arisen casually and has progressively developed by imitation. Basically, when people are exposed to this phenomenon, they become so deeply impressed that they start seeing this man in their dreams.
Like a mind virus.
And finally, daytime recognition theory. This theory states that the apparitions of this man are purely casual. Normally, we do not remember precisely the faces we see in our dreams. The image of this man would thus be an instrument which, in the subject's waking life, facilitates recognition of an image.
An undefined onirical image. An undefined onirical image, like a dream-based image. So yeah.
The thing that is interesting to me is that it says AI. So there you go. You know what? My phone did a thing I didn't want, but here we go. Starting with a dream on Tuesdays and Friday for 10 years. I'm now 17. I'm 17 now. Okay, that checks out.
He was following me, so I started running. He easily kept the same pace as me. He gave a small groan and sped up until he was in front of me. He put his hand out, stopping me from running. He pulled me close to him, but he only spoke 21 words. I still think about them every night. On April 9th, 2021, go north. It's the only way to survive. After saying this, the man ran away. I tried to catch up to him to ask more, but I couldn't keep up. As I watched him fade away in the distance, I got a strange feeling. I woke up immediately after he left my line of sight. Actually, no.
Right now, I'm looking up April 9th, 2021.
Do you think we all years ago I had seen a couples therapist because I was having recurring dreams about this middle-aged man who kept attacking.
Draw his face, even before the first patient identified him in New York.
It isn't.